Welcome back to another episode of the MissJudged podcast. Season 2 is lit, guys. Tell your friends, tell your fam at MissJudged podcast. Everywhere you look. Tell your enemies too. So we're here today with Benny.
Let's get it. I love it. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. Alyssa brought the heat today, so I'm bringing it back too.
Okay, Benny, tell everyone a little bit about you and where we can find you.
Sure, right. You know, I'm present on TikTok and Instagram at Benny Inc. BENNYINC. I do dating strategy on both of those platforms, and that's where I find my passion. So if you're interested, you go there. And now we're here.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so Benny, if you don't know, I mean, you should know, but he stays educating mostly women on his page where he's trying to educate the delulu out of everyone, and we love him for it. So I thought, who's like the best to talk about this with? Because I feel like there's an epidemic going on. It's probably been going on for a while, but now it's starting to become more mainstream, where today's episode is just going to focus on when you're in a relationship with a new partner, why are you paying for the sins of the ex? Mm-hmm. Like, this is a thing that I feel is becoming, it's making our society stagnant with like healthy dating. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest thing I feel like, outside of like, you know, just people being low EQ.
Yeah.
Like this, well, this is kind of hand in hand with that, honestly.
For sure, right? There's always like there's a very popular saying. If you make the future dude pay for the last dude, you get no dude. That's kind of always the thing I always say. You can't let the next guy pay for all the sins and problems and baggage and shit you had to go through with the past guy. That doesn't work because they're gonna feel it right off the bat. Now, given that being said, nobody's perfect, right? Everybody has their stuff they bring, lessons they've learned, et cetera, et cetera. It's just the issue is when you get onto date 1, date 2, and date 3, and all the shit and baggage you had happen to you before, and now you're thinking about, well, what's he gonna do? And I've seen this before, and this playbook. Like, get out of your own head. That's part of your problem. That's why you can't enter into good, conducive, healthy back and forth with guys because, and now I'm speaking to women because I typically talk to women, right? And that's why I hear from them. I hear like, but this, I've seen this thing before. I'm like, you've seen nothing. This is Chad. You're talking about Michael. These are two different people.
Yeah.
And you're fucking it up for yourself.
No, everybody's fucking it up. I just want to throw that out there. People are like, Alyssa, I'm not getting a second date. Like, I get the comments. I love you guys for it. Love the DMs. But like, everybody is just thinking, oh, here's the thing. We're all overthinking it, okay? It's really not that complicated. And as a straight female, I'm here to say men aren't that complicated. Women too, by the way.
Yeah.
Problematic.
Yeah, listen, people are complicated in their own ways, right? People have their own experiences they gather from, and they do this and they do that. Depending on what type of personality you are, you either have to give yourself a little bit more grace or step on the fucking pedal. And most people might have to actually step on the pedal and check themselves because their bad behaviors are getting in the way of a potential future relationship. So it's really fucking the game up. And how do I know? I speak to a lot of women a lot, and they come with the same thing. And part of the reason that my personal experience of why I believe that it's difficult for women is because post date 1, there's part of the choosing process for a lot of women is that when they finally get to go on a date with a guy, they've already kind of chosen him to go on a date with, right? So there's something about this guy interested. It doesn't guarantee they're going to be interested in the second or third, but out of 50 guys, he's one of the 2 you've chosen, or 3, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And there's part of the selection process in their mind of like, okay, whereas a guy a lot of times does shoot shots. That's just a part of the nature.
Wait, what do you mean? He's shooting shots? Like he's shooting shots like he's in a relationship shooting shots?
No, he's shooting shots to get on a first date.
Okay, well.
Like he has to shoot. He's like, most guys are not as selective. Now, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be, but most guys should be more selective. They shouldn't be taking girls out that they're semi-interested in this and that. They should be vetting better. However,
I don't think that we're doing that.
On apps and off apps.
You think people are vetting properly on apps?
No, I don't.
Yeah, no.
I'm saying I think they should be vetting better.
Let's go into how to vet, because I think that's part of the problem here. And also, like, should you even be on a dating app in the first place? Because I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people are even paying for the sins of an ex is you're just rolling right into it. You're right on the apps immediately. You have not healed. And then you're on the apps like a wild animal loose from the zoo. And now we're on the apps. And how do people vet this person out? Like, what do we look for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think, like, first off, I don't think the apps are helping us enhance and increase our social skill qualities.
Well, of
That's a
course not.
fact. So I don't think it actually helps. But depending on where people are geographically, like if you're in the middle of nowhere, maybe an app is a little bit more helpful for you to get your feet wet because you're not used to meeting people or getting out there. Or you can't, or whatever barrier you want to tell yourself.
I will say, I have heard people in the burbs be like, there's literally 10 people that are like my speed here. So I think it's actually slimmer pickings, honestly, there.
Sure.
So I feel for y'all.
Sure. And so maybe in some parts, right, apps can be more beneficial and more helpful for people to get out of their patterns and comfort zones. But for most people in big cities, obviously they do a lot more harm than they do good, considering the level of options I think we spoke about in the past.
Yes. There's no options anywhere outside the city. And in the city, honestly, mostly trash. It's like sifting through a bin of basura like a raccoon. You know what I mean?
Sure. Listen, there's a lot of options there, right? And you get to navigate which ones you like, which ones you don't like. But the reality is, the more you spend your time on there and you allow this to be your main priority of how you meet people, is the more fucked up it becomes for you.
Okay, so why don't we talk about the genesis story of this person? Because I love the genesis story. Because you know what? From a female perspective, and I'll let you speak to the male perspective, but let's say I'm dating John. And John, okay, let's say John has like, he's 40, right? Let's say he had a girlfriend in high school. His girlfriend in high school cheated on him. But anyways, John's genesis story is that he dated his high school sweetheart. She cheated on him with the captain of the football team. And now John is in his 40s and he is still fucked up from his high school sweetheart because she cheated. So every subsequent women that he has dated, he has been a little intense about knowing their location, checking in. He wants to know where she's at, what she's doing. And the second she deviates from like giving him updates, he's like, she's a fucking cheater. And that girl might just be kicking it with her friends. She might just be at work, or she might just be not wanting to be on her phone and give John updates because she's not his daughter.
Sure.
So this is what us as women see a lot of, like not just even with cheating.
Have you kind of had that personal experience, and how have they put that on you? Like what kind of self-sabotaging ways does John come up to you with and like cut it for himself, you know, for whatever reason that made you be like, I need to leave? Or I have the second thoughts.
Benny, I have stories. 4 years. 4 years. Honestly, here's my thing. I always tell everyone, like, I am not here to be like a judgmental queen. I have walked so everyone else can run. Like, anytime I talk about a topic on this podcast, let me tell you, close to the chest, like, I've experienced it and then some. That's why it's a topic. And it is widespread with other women. We talk about it all the time. So, like, examples include the cheating situation. I had a long-term boyfriend, 3 years. He was cheated on by a girl, not once, but twice. Took her back after the first time, and then she cheated again. He ended up being a borderline narcissist, by the way, though. So I actually sometimes think was that even true? So every time I traveled or did anything, he'd be like, I support this. This is amazing. Like, we should have our independence and blah, blah, blah. And then I would be like, I was on a girls' trip in Miami, and he was literally melting down because I didn't check in when I got home from the club with my friends at like 3 a.m. And I'm like, you were asleep. I didn't text you because also I hadn't heard from you that night. So like, I didn't ask what you were doing, but hello, good morning, sir. You know? And then it was just like a huge fight trying to ruin the trip, that kind of stuff. So it was toxic. Obviously indicative of much bigger things. But I mean, I've had it so little as like, I was in a relationship and we were together for like under a year, and I was like, hey, are we going to move forward? At any point, do you see a future here? And he and I talked about it, and then I was like, look, if, you know, I prefer to be married at some point, so like I would prefer to be engaged before we move in together. And that is literally surprising to people because I am not a traditional girly, but that is my thing. Like, if I give up half my closet space, you got to give me a promissory note, like 100%. So, and then he's like, oh, well, I've never had anybody like want this. So like, I'm supposed to sit here and like acquiesce because you've only dated like hippies and people that don't want that stuff. So like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, I've never dated somebody and been like, oh my God, the last guy, I had been cheated on. And after I was cheated on, the next guy that I dated, I wasn't like, oh, you're a cheater the second he worked a late night or something. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't ever treat anybody the way that others had treated me like that, because I'm like, you're a different person. But some people can't EQ that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, many people do, actually. A majority of the time, people are using that kind of fuel to get on defense mode because they want to see the thing before it hits, right? It's like a self-protection mechanism.
Yeah.
It's like a part of the play now. And when it's used too much, the reality is, when people call in and talk about that, even on my show, I just like, listen, nobody owe you anything. Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes your past understanding. Nobody owes you understanding. You either come correct or just don't come at all. And that's a difficult conversation because I'm not trying to take away the human element of it. We all have those experiences, but in no way, shape, or form, if you're driving yourself crazy, go to therapy, go to counseling then at some point. Do something. Talk about it with somebody. Get a dog. Do something. But it shouldn't be to the point where you have to now take it out and sabotage a good thing. And I've even seen people, women, because I speak to women, I've even seen women cut it short quick. And
Really?
do I see these things?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, no.
Just so they can have control of the scenario when it doesn't go in their capacity. When it doesn't go the direction that they're looking for it to go, they're like, I'm going to cut it. Because they're trying not to get hurt from their side, right?
No.
They just want to do it.
Okay, we have to unpack.
Control thing.
We're going to unpack that because that is the problem here. Like, there's so much self-help on the internet and all these like fake ass psychiatrists going out there and no degrees. And you know what? I have news. Again, I have a degree in psychology, so don't come for me. But I'm not a doctor. However, I feel like I'm a pragmatic person and that is going extinct. And if you know, you know. Okay. But like, I don't understand why everyone is so quick to cut out. Like, if you're dating someone and you like them, first of all, you're two completely separate people coming together and you're trying to understand if you can work, right? So like the amount of people, and I have friends that do this, like the second somebody does like a red flag, it's like, game over. He's a narcissist. Like he's probably like bipolar. It's like, okay, or benefit of the doubt, and don't do this too much because this can kind of get you into trouble. But like, I give people 3 chances, right? If you show me 3 times that you're like a toxic ex and you're exhibiting that behavior, I will not continue. However, who the fuck is perfect? Who is perfect? And why are we holding people to this standard of perfection? It's like, that's actually toxic. And so like this weird notion of like, oh, he did this one thing, unless it's like he literally stalked you home to make sure you're there because he's so afraid you're cheating on him. Okay, cut out, girl. Like if you're in an unsafe situation, like you don't need 3 strikes. But if he like made a weird joke, okay, he may not be that funny, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of this kind of what we're talking about right now, I think it stems from our like over desire to over consume and just plug in everything because we're just so hungry to be told what to do and how to believe about things that we just want to eliminate all of our personal accountability. Therefore, that's why we always turn to like over consuming whatever piece of content's going to hit your feed next, and becomes like a crutch for you, and it becomes like a place for you to go where you see any of these behaviors and you hear it, and it's very empowering. There's something that's very empowering about just being fed information around this machine, around this specific topic around dating. I mean,
it's
how crazy online world is about dating.
Oh
and
God, it's so
like
toxic.
What to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
X this, red flag this, that. And that's just like, that's just like a hunger to just be told what to do and what to believe. It's a lazy way of not thinking for oneself. You don't have the ability to have original thought. Therefore, you're bombarded with stuff, and it's just easier.
Well, also it melts the brain. But also what I see perpetually is women feeding other women, you need to act this way, do this way. And we're all talking to each other, but there's not a man in the room. You know what I mean? Like we're all talking about what do men want? What are they looking for? Like how do you do that with no men in the equation? And likewise with men, like giving each other advice, and there's no women in the equation. I'm seeing all this stuff and like, this is how, like I heard the craziest shit the other day from a dude where he's like trying to say if a girl kisses a guy that he's friends with, that she's like, throw her away, she's a hoe, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, other men are hearing this. Like there's no women in the equation. It's just toxic. So anyways, that aside, I want to hear the genesis story of Karen, who is, because you date straight women, right? And I want to hear your experience with like, how does Karen have her genesis where she is going to be damaged by a man and then carry that to you? Like, what's her genesis story?
Well, her genesis story, I'll tell you a specific story from my past. But, I think that
you don't have a specific one?
I am.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah, we're going to call her, what's her name?
We can call her anything you want.
Carrie.
Carrie? Oh, I like a Carrie.
Which is just a random name. But Carrie, listen, I understand, right? People have these things and these whatever, and it depends on their personality. Carrie was a very heavy, introverted, avoidant, if you want to classify people in categories, which I don't typically do, but let's just call her this.
I mean, it's prevalent with introverts.
And she was, right, and she was. And so everything I did was under a microscope, which was very difficult for me because if I would step out and it was 3 hours that went by and she couldn't know where I was, it was a really like, well, I don't understand what you were doing. It's like, what were you doing?
Did she say that
this
was because of exes?
She talked about her past experiences. I mean, she doesn't have to draw 2 and 2 as 4, but I can kind of like, at some point it's coming from somewhere, right? Or maybe it's just dealing with me personally. But there's always going to be some of that, right? If she dated 3 people before and a guy was stepped out on her and she didn't realize, then this kind of always comes back up, especially the cheating stuff. The cheating stuff is people hold on to that shit. And when you get into a situation with somebody or a relationship with somebody, which we'll talk about next in terms of situationship, but when we get in a relationship with somebody, you have to start looking past these things that you were once kind of stabbing you in the side about why are these preventing you from entering this thing. And that happened with me, right? And it took a very long time to get over this thing. And like, there was nothing I could do, even if I climbed up the hill a little bit and started to like try to overprove myself. I realized it was actually just a slope that I'm digging for myself, because I would try and overprove, and then I'd have a standard of overproving to keep going on. And if I dropped a little bit, it was like another microscope. Here it comes. Yeah. However, I will tell you, I also learned my biggest, most valuable lessons from dating someone like that.
100%. It's always a lesson.
Yeah. And, it made me more conscious of like how somebody could be feeling about maybe my own actions. Maybe I wasn't as conscious as me being, my own personal habits were maybe a little more like, I'm not the biggest sharer. I don't share a lot of information. If you ask, I tell, but I'm not like, so this is what I did today. I did X, Y, and Z. Not 9 a.m. I went here, and at 12 I went here. I'm just not that guy. So if I'm not telling you that, it doesn't mean that I'm hiding something from you. It just means it's just not my personality. But some people can see that as like, well, what is hiding? What are you hiding?
Okay, so
like, I'm not hiding it.
I mean, that's just like, that is toxic, but I honestly understand it when you're like more of an anxious person, where you're like, what are you doing? Like, it's a little bit more anxious avoidant, like where it's like, I just don't know why you're not telling me things and I have to pull it out of you. Like, but she might have dated somebody. So like, if somebody has acted like that, like she could have been dating a dude who literally would ghost out. Like I've gotten the weirdest messages from people, and also like my friends have told me the weirdest things. Like, I'm dating this guy and he doesn't talk to me for like 6 days at a time. It's like, what, are you even dating? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's been hurt by somebody, and it's almost impossible not to carry it a little bit. But like, when it starts bleeding into, this person hasn't ever done anything to break my trust, and they have never done anything to make me feel like they're not riding for me. Like, you got to take a step back and be like, why the fuck am I acting like this to this innocent person? Mm-hmm. Like, we are not in a courtroom. You know what I mean? Like, people are digging for things. Like, they're like finding his LinkedIn, like, oh, he knows this person, and this person's this, and my ex knew a person like that too. And it's like, we're just looking for ways to hurt our own feelings.
Yeah, talk about toxic. Fuck? If you want to use the word toxic, just add it to that equation. I see girls that go on and be like, his following went up 1.
Oh, God,
who is this? And then they go in and then they dig and they're like, I knew it.
Look, and by the way, I had an ex once where we literally took some time apart, and when we got back together, his number, I'm not a girl that checks IG, I don't watch your stories, I don't give a shit. His number jumped so high that I literally was like, the fuck? Like, because he refriended me. Because we literally took a break. He refriends me, and I'm like, since when do you have all these followers? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it was literally a sea of only hot girls. I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was like, I mean, it had to have been hundreds. Well, like, it was crazy.
If it's very obvious, I get it, right?
Yeah,
it's more
and that
like
was
hey,
like,
this dude's following all these like model girls. Like, obviously, you have a problem.
I'm like, you were lonely, babe. But like, honestly, I mean, what was he doing late at night? But like, you know what I mean? The only reason I even noticed is because it was so insane. But like, can you imagine sitting there? And the only way people know people's follower count is if they are Mensa level with remembering numbers, or they are literally screenshotting that shit and literally going back to it the next day, like 2 more. Like, that's insane. Please learn a language.
This was Carrie that we're talking about.
This is Carrie?
No. That was what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, was that.
Oh my.
And there was something that some of it wasn't said to me personally, but like, the behaviors, I was like watching everything. I was like, huh.
Well, if she feels like she doesn't trust you, why is she dating you? Like,
fair.
That's like, why are we doing?
Totally fair. And maybe there was behaviors that I could have been more conducive, and I could have realized and been like, okay, maybe I could have overshared a little bit more.
I mean, I'm going to need everyone to stop using their trauma as a personality trait, by the way, because like the thing is, sometimes people use it to like suck you in the dating hemisphere. So like we have the Genesis story of John and Carrie, right? Then they zero in on somebody they like, that person reciprocates it. Now you're in the beginning stages of a relationship. Maybe you're not exclusive, but like sometimes at that point you start sharing a little bit of your past, and it's almost like a bonding thing, right? Because you're like, this is what I've been through a little bit. You're not getting too deep with your traumas. Like, please don't advise. But sometimes you have commonality. Like maybe you both have been cheated on. Maybe you both were in a toxic situation. Maybe you were both married, whatever. You both have kids. Like, just share. But like sometimes people use the sharing against the person. Mm-hmm. And that is how this cycle starts of like, oh, well, my ex also. Like I've been there, right? When I was engaged, the next person that I dated, he had been engaged. And I'm like, well, why did it break up? And he just sat there and he was like, well, I don't know. She just like did it one day. And I was just like, oh, I know what had to happen for mine to break. And it was, we had to like really not see eye to eye. And like, it was not a decision we both made lightly. So like, how are you going to sit here and make it so cash? Like, oh, I don't know. Just out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you maybe are oblivious, and that's giving 2 boyfriends ago. You know what I mean? So like, it's something you do sometimes think on. But first of all, if I'm really thinking this person isn't my person, or I'm doubting them already, why the fuck would I continue to see them? Mm-hmm. But secondly, I date that guy. Maybe I'm like, oh, cool, we have a commonality. We've both been engaged. Why the fuck would I ever use that against him if I'm choosing to date him? Mm-hmm. Like, it's very bizarre behavior.
Yeah, but people do that for control reasons, in my opinion. I've seen it happen. I just feel like it's like a sabotage reason. Like,
control. Let's go into that.
Yeah, because I think that sometimes people get to places where they feel like they're losing control of this, and then they feel too vulnerable, and they're like, I got to get my control back. So if this is going to go away, I might as well end it, because I don't want him to end it. How do I feel about myself? I'd rather just end the thing, or just cut it shorter, or look for a problem and find the problem and let it go. Yeah. And I just see that pattern a lot, actually.
I mean, I get that. I mean, like, it's sometimes you do date people and they give you like flashbacks of old situations, and it's hard not to like, dive into it a little bit deeper. Like, I dated an introvert, right? And he was very introverted, and it became a sticking point in our relationship because we lived together. So like, he would come home.
So you lived together before engagement?
When we were engaged.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
And so,
I thought, okay, they were engaged too.
Shout out. He loves to see it. We're on good terms, actually. Like, but anyways, he is introverted. So when he came home from work, he preferred some like decompression, right? He didn't want to hang. He wanted some alone time, and I was just kind of like walking on eggshells at that point. Like, like, let me just give you your alone time. But the next introvert, his introverted tendencies literally did lead us to kind of our demise, because he just like could not make room in his life for another person. So like, I seem to always be drawn to introverts, right? So like, the next guy I dated was an introvert, and I'm sitting there when he's like, I need to decompress, and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna go down this road again, like these fucking introverts, like, and I had to literally snap myself out of it. But I never brought it to him. I handled it myself with my therapist, like a normal, rational person.
Fair.
Yeah.
I seem to go after the introverts in my past too. Like my past examples, I would like, I went after introverty type personalities that, for whatever reason, maybe sparked a place where I can feel more like in control and powerful for whatever reason.
It's because you're a Gemini.
Or that.
We're both Geminis, guys.
Or that.
It's because you're a Gemini, and also because, like, you know, we can kind of adapt, right, to anything, but we're extroverted introverts. So, like, introverts to us are like a safe space. So we thrive with an introvert because we're like, I can just like not have to be on.
Anytime I've been with like extroverted significant others, it's been like, let me just shut up and let me sit here because I don't even want to get into this. It's like exhausting. I'm like,
so
God,
tiring.
I want to leave.
It's so, and they're also kind of two extroverts together. It's like a fighting situation where you're like, the sky is blue, and they're like, it actually is turquoise, and you're like, whatever the fuck. It's like exhausting.
Hilarious you say that. You know, I think also too, I know this is maybe maybe not as common, but I dated a girl in my past actually that no matter what, we just could not get to a place where there was like a flow agreement.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'd be like, it's a really nice day out. She'd be like, it's okay.
Oh, you know what?
Everything.
Worst.
But I come to like realize, I was like, I don't understand. Like, you know, it was almost like everything. And there was like a desire to build this tension so it could be solved via like sex. Seriously.
Oh, you know what? That's the one thing I never had with those you know what? I don't know.
Seriously, like there are people specifically I'm talking about.
You think so?
Oh,
that's
definitely.
problematic.
It's like that's like a tension build. Yes, so that like there can be like it can get resolved in a way. It's wild.
You know what's so funny? If you live a life as a woman and you only talk to other women that are dating, you could have a very crazy mindset of men. Mm-hmm. If you're dating a straight man, by the way, sorry, we're hetero. But like, when I hear stories from men, I sometimes am like reminded that, you know, we're a little problematic too. Like, we're all a little problematic. It's not just like, I hate to demonize one gender over the other because I think that is done to death way too much lately. Yeah. We're all a little problematic, okay? So like, I'm just gonna need everyone to rein that in, because when you sit here and tell me that, I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was only men.
Well, it's only men because men don't talk about it out there because they don't want to air out her business. It's not really anybody else's business, number one. Number two, he doesn't seem like a good dude. He seems like a punk for even doing it. But when women do it, it's more of like it's an empowerment tool, and then they get like tribe with it. If a guy did it, it'd be like, what's your point?
I will say men do not talk about sex like women. Like, we're graphic. And I always thought men were going to be like graphic, and they're like very close to the chest, very demure about it. It's very shocking when you reach that stage of life where you're like, I thought you all were demons. It's us. When we talk about it, it is graphic.
Yes.
Like
yeah, I know. It's wild. It's like these fantasies that are living that like come out at some point. But a lot of men, even with each other, don't get like that with each other. Like, they're not like, and then this and then this. There are very rare examples of that happening, but on the norm, they don't really do that. And especially with girls they like, because they become a little territorial over, and they don't want their boy looking at their girl in that capacity. Like, I don't want.
Oh, true.
I don't want you seeing my girl in this light. I wouldn't even tell you about that kind of stuff. It's disrespectful for you even asking me.
Yeah. Honestly,
I'm almost suspect to you now.
Honestly,
that's part of it.
I have to say, sometimes when my friends talk about it, I get super uncomfortable because I'm just like, I don't even need to know this man like that. Like, I struggle to look some of my friends' significant others, and I
feel like you're a rare example. Let's just be very clear.
Really?
Yes, I think most women would love to hear this, and they'd be like all ears, and then they can see their man in a light that maybe they didn't before. This is so common.
No, I don't want to hear my friends like graphic situations, and they'd love to tell me.
Do you find that common?
Love to tell me. Yeah, I don't know. People love to tell me their deep, dark secrets, and I never ask, but I don't know what it is about me, and I low-key love it because I love, you know, the goss. But sometimes I'm sitting there like, oh my God, a little uncomfortable. Like, we didn't need to know all that.
Right. Fair.
Maybe I'm a prude. Who knows? I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Okay. All right, so the Genesis story, and now we're moving into not being a toxic person and carrying it into your dating, and how to like not make them pay for the sins. So here are the rules for not making your current partner pay for the sins of your ex, because this is honestly something we all need to stop and do better about. I'm gonna need you all to take a fucking breather before you date other people. And if you're not ready to date, just be out here being a hoe. Like, please do us all a favor. If you think you're catching feelings for somebody, you're fresh out of the equation, You're sitting here like, oh, he's reminding me of my ex. Please, girl, take a break from him. Come back in 2 months. Like, because that is the real problem. You're still subtweeting your ex. You're still in it. You haven't unlocked that phase of indifference. Like, hate and love are right there together. Indifference is where you want to be at when you're like actually trying to pursue a real relationship.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care if I fucking see him at the restaurant next door when I'm on a date with this girl.
And
That's the level.
And yeah, that could take some time for people, right? That's why I think it's important to like take some time out for yourself and focus on yourself, whether that's going to the gym or develop a new routine or a new program on what you want to eat and all these things that like taking your focus off of this one dude, because like those things get carried over. And I just don't want to see the compounding interest of that last problem.
Compounding interest. Guys, we're really promissory note, compounding interest. Like, it's a finance lesson today.
Yeah, right.
No, I just, that's the one thing I feel is always the common thread. And sometimes I've been with people where they're like, oh, I was single for a year. I'm like, well, what were you doing for that year for real? Like,
yeah,
because you're still seeming like you're in it. Like, I had dated somebody and we talked about having kids, like in the beginning, like, are we on the same page? And then as the relationship progressed, he told me a story about how his ex really wanted a baby all of a sudden one day. And she like came home and was like, today's the day, basically. And he's like, now whenever I talk about it with a partner and they like say anything about timing and stuff like that, gives me anxiety because it reminds me of like how that's how that ended, because it felt like a lot of pressure. And I just looked at him and I was like, get over it. Like, this isn't a me problem. This is a you problem. Like, I'm a different person. And timelines are important when you talk about shit like that.
Listen,
So, like,
I couldn't agree more. So I think the harsher perspective that I typically have on this is like, actually, especially early stage, nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about what happened to you, who cheated on who,
Nobody
how much
cares.
tea was in China. I don't care. None of this really matters because you're bringing a new thing to a new person and you're fucking it up. And the outcome is still going to be the same. And like, sure, somebody can choose to care. Somebody can choose to be like, oh, you know, their style is like this because of. But in no world will maybe a more healthy person have to actually even consider these details.
Yeah.
When you're talking about all this trauma that's having all this baggage that's not fitting up in the cabin. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care anything to do with your ex. You know, I want the tea. I love the stories. I get entertained by them. It helps me get a little bit of insight into you. But like, truly speaking, I don't give a fuck about your ex or anything that you guys did together, because that's a different part of your life that does not impact me, and it should not impact me.
Yeah.
So don't let it impact me.
Right.
You know?
I don't even ask questions about the ex.
You don't? Oh, I want to
No,
know.
I mean, I don't. I mean, if they volunteer information, I might ask a follow-up, but I would never be like, you know, even the past relationships I've been in, I wasn't never diving. I was never being like, so tell me about him. You know,
Yeah.
just to, you know, what did he do? Or I didn't really care because
Yeah.
I just didn't need to. Like, I'm in a new, I don't need to like focus on that. I just want you to experience me for me. And I don't need to like think about what he did. And then all of a sudden I'm drawing these different stories, even though I probably wouldn't. But even if I did, I was like, why do I even care that much?
I mean, I think it's like good insight into maybe how you are as a partner. You know, like if you sit here and just subtly throw into conversation like, oh yeah, I've never gotten a girlfriend flowers. I'm like, okay, I like flowers. Noted.
Sure.
We're gonna have to say something. You know what?
Sure.
Everyone actually, the one thing I want everyone to understand about dating is that if somebody is actually into you, they are amenable. Like, don't expect them to change their personality. Don't get it twisted. But little things can actually be taught. Oh, I don't like his hair. I don't like the way he dresses. All right, these are things that we can fix a little bit.
Sure.
Like, oh, he said he's never given a girl flowers. Like, I can't date a guy that doesn't give flowers. I love flowers. Like, okay, if you tell him that that's important to you, he'll do it if he likes you. You know?
Yeah, no. I think everybody typically adapts to the people they like, but the funny thing is like everybody has this like ideal list of the things that they require, or standards and demands in the partner, but that doesn't work. When you meet somebody you like, those things kind of get tossed to the side, and you start to see
100%.
people for people, right? You don't looking at them like, oh, but it has to match X, Y, and Z. You're like, I really like this person. They spark something deep in me that makes me feel something that I didn't feel before in somebody else, and I don't think a lot of people give that enough space to exist.
Well, this is why. This is one of those reasons why people don't let that, like, they don't explore that. Because we're living paranoid instead of present. So you're like, people are always like, oh, it's a, you know, and I've been guilty of it. You're in a new relationship. You just got out of the wildest bullshit ever. You needed to be in therapy for a year. You meet a nice guy and you're just sitting there like, looking at him side eye. You're like, the fuck are you gonna do? You're like, you seem like you're up to no good because you're being too good. You know, like you're being paranoid. Calm down.
Yeah. I had a question so I do these IG questions now I just started to do. Which, you know, like I have my live streams I do on TikTok, but now I'm starting to do these IG questions.
I
and like,
love
I get
them.
a lot of questions in. And one girl's like, he's committed, everything I wanted.
Wait, I already know her. I'm friends with her.
He goes, he's committed, everything I wanted, but now I'm scared. Make
Yes.
sure I don't sabotage it. I was like, exactly. This is what happens when you're not on your toes, apparently. You got a problem.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I
Go
can
ahead,
be
go ahead.
very chill and calm, but sometimes I'm like, it's too quiet. We need some loudness. And I will literally be that girl where I'll be like, should we have a fight? Like, I can be a little look, guys, I said I walked so you can run. Like, I've been that problematic girl before. So like, sometimes you meet a dude, he's got everything on your list and he is perfect. He's treating you well and you're sitting there like, the fuck are you about to do to me? You're gonna hurt my feelings. I'm gonna pick a fight with you because you're too perfect.
And a lot of this, though, you know, a lot of this does, again, I think it goes back to the overconsumption of like desire to like see things that we've never seen before and try things and being overstimulated and trying for the drama, but also the safety. There's this dichotomy that's going on. And I think that guys are just a little more predictable in how they deal with these things. Like they're a little more, you know, the requirements from a relationship from a guy in terms of like, you know, attraction, even intimacy are not that high. They don't need to be like brought on a roller coaster and then back down. Whereas like a lot of girls really do desire this, whether they say it or not. They like kind of need the excitement, but they also need the safety.
Yeah.
And the guys are just like not as much. So
Yeah. I think that we just all want to like think the worst of people when they've given us no reason to.
sure.
And we all don't know how to be vulnerable anymore. That's the one thing the apps have stripped us from. So like, that's why people are in this like perfect relationship and they're like, Benny, I'm going to fuck it up. It's like, yeah, because we don't know how to be healthy anymore because we've been out here literally, we can replace him in 2 seconds now. We know it. So like, there's just no fear to like open up to somebody.
Yeah, and we're just over influenced.
Or there is
like,
fear, sorry.
Yeah. And no, we're over influenced. We're being told what is right for you and what you should accept and what you shouldn't and what your standards are and what you should be feeling. And if you don't, you should bounce. But like, you have to understand that's just rhetoric, and the rhetoric doesn't really sustain you for something that you may actually want.
Yeah, I think that we all need to be present, not paranoid. We need to like just sit back and see how it goes for 1 second. You could be literally self-sabotaging the best relationship you could have ever had. And like, that's the one thing I do feel like, unfortunately, more men do than women.
They do what specifically?
Sabotage. Like I feel like more men have regrets about certain women, and you don't hear a lot of women be like, oh, you know what? I really regret that. Because you guys sometimes are more guilty of the right girl at the wrong time.
Okay. And you're saying that women don't regret it as much?
I'm saying like when we self-sabotage, we're like, oh, well, there's usually something in our gut that was like, something was wrong. You know what I mean?
I think women tell stories about it.
We do know how to spin.
Right. I think that they might not identify it as regret, but I do believe like, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, I wasn't cheating. Like, I just find there's like a weird maneuver in which you can manipulate an answer you want. And I just, it's not that they don't regret, because right, like they might not identify it as regret, maybe because they've come to a different place in their mind about it, where they're like, well, no, he did this and he did that. I don't regret not doing anything, you know. And
okay.
Part of my thing, I always tell them, I was like, don't you want to minimize regrets? And some of them are like, yeah. But it's, I don't know, like, and maybe, you know, I think guys fuck up a lot out in the dating world, but I'm not quite sure. I don't talk to as many men. I just talk to so many women. I don't talk to as much men about that type. And also, too, there's like a weird stigma with men opening up to men. It's like
that's how I have a weird perspective on it. You probably get a different version of women when they talk to you, and I get the version of men that'll be a little bit more honest. Because to be very upfront, a lot of the things that I get told were from people I dated. So like when I'm like, every single person I've ever even gone on a date with, I always ask that question. Like, did you ever date somebody that you like regretted? And they've all always said yes. I asked that to my girlfriends.
They regretted dating or regretted not?
That they regretted not, like that they fucked it up, basically.
Oh, okay.
And every time I've asked that question to a group of women, they're like, hell no.
But that's also a part of men just typically on average take much more accountability for their actions.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't hear women actually take that kind of level of
We are
accountability.
bad at rejection.
But yeah,
So
you're
we flip it.
horrific at rejection. So it's like it's the flip of like, it's not that they regret, because then that would mean if they regret something, they could have done something that they didn't do. Whereas like a part of it is like, if they really thought they could have done something they didn't do, maybe that story alone will not make them sleep for a week. You know what I mean? And
that is true.
whereas a guy would be like, yeah, I fucked that up. Because other guys hold them accountable too. Like, yo, you fucked that up. What are you talking about? You see what we just did? He's like, yeah, all right, fine. And there's part of that. I see that more. And I just think women tend to get away with like massaging into each other a little bit more than men do.
I think that we all. Oh, he's laughing. You know what? I like this debate because I feel like we're on. You know, we got all the opinions here. Like, I want to hear your thoughts. Actually, what do you? I agree. You agree with him? Yeah. I mean, look, I will say, as somebody who has a lot of female friends, sometimes when they tell me their version of what happened and I've witnessed a lot of the relationship, I'm sitting there like, girl, you know, you were a little bit like a lunatic. And they're like, no, he was this. And it's like.
Well, I think that's rare that actually women check other women like that. I think that's a rare example. No, they hate it. I have a small circle for that reason.
People don't like it. But that's
part of it, right? They hate actually being checked like that. That's why I watch other women don't say things like that. They say it in a way. Like, not like you look like trash with that on. I mean, some women might, but they might just be like, I have something better for you. You know, there's 100%. Just the way it's said. And it's not like you're wrong. It's more of like I can see that.
Yeah.
There's like this group think to be like accepted and liked.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe like as a fear of reputation destruction or something that comes along with the gossip and the group chats and everything else. Whereas guys, it's a little more like confrontational up front. It's more and more like we could check you here, but like.
Yeah, you're not going to check their bad behavior.
Yeah, it's not like.
You don't care. You guys are like, whatever, it's weird. I don't support it. But like, he wants to do whatever he wants to do. I don't want to get involved. Girls are literally like, did you know that you can break up with him? Like, he's trash. He's probably a narcissist. You know, like, we're more apt to that.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that stigma where guys don't even really open up to guys that much, because a lot of guys actually don't really care, and the ones who do actually, I think, depending on the kind of guy friend.
Actually, I will disagree. I think a lot of men care, and they will never admit it publicly.
I think that they care about their personal lives, but also think like if a boy has a problem, you're like, all right, fix your problems.
You guys don't care about your friends' problems, no.
No, not as much. I think there's like if he's, you know, yes, I get it, like whatever it may be with, but we're always kind of like, all right, we'll see if he can pick himself up. It's not really like hey, let's all come together and help Brad. It's very much, and I know maybe it could be more. I'm not arguing the point of what it should be, but I do think there's like this little bit of like, let's see.
This is part of the problem for at least the women with this issue is the reason why I think a lot of women deal with men that carry the sins of their ex to the next thing is because they don't have a sounding board and talk it out and work it out. And a lot of them are not in therapy and admitting fault in any of this. And it is literally just, let's take this. And now any girl that acts like this, I know the signs. And that's just not the way to go about it. Like, so I will say, again, it is definitely very prevalent with men and women. The women have been problematic as fuck with this issue too. But I only have the version where, you know, I know the men. And it is sometimes scary because they get really angry.
Who do you think overthinks more in relationships in early stage?
Women.
Where do you think that overthinks?
Well, wait. What do we mean early stage? Because I think,
dating phase. Not like, you know, in a relationship, I think that's one thing. But like early phase, you don't know somebody. First 4 weeks, first 8 weeks, whatever it is. Who do you think overthinks more?
Okay. This isn't controversial. Normal women probably overthink a little bit more. I personally don't give a fuck.
Maybe that's you, for sure. Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, I'm very aloof when I don't know if you're my person. I'm just like, I can't even be bothered to reply to your text. Like, my partners are like, the switch up when I decide I like them is like, oh, now she's a texter. But I think in the very first 2 dates, the overthinker is the man because he's like trying to put out his best version. And then the woman is like kind of reciprocating, and then she's starting to like him, and then she's overthinking.
Right, after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the first 2 dates are the guy, and the next few dates are the girl, honestly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I mean, it can be either way. Sometimes people are introverted, they're overthinking everything.
No, I think in general, I think you're pretty much more spot on. That's what I've seen in here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but then again, I'm always hearing the thing right after a girl has chosen a guy, which is like post date 1. I always hear after that, right? So like date 1 to relationship, that's like the dating phase, right? Where you go on dates with somebody.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be the But what is he doing here? It took him 5 hours, not 4 hours, to reach back out to me. What does that mean? What does it mean if he didn't talk to me for a day? He went with his friends over here. What does this mean to me? Whatever. All this shit. And I think that there's like a lot of like storytelling.
We need to do an episode about. We did an episode about how to date on the apps, how to make a date, how to go on the first date. We need to make an episode about everybody dating in that first 4 dates, because y'all be overthinking the shit. You don't even know each other. Calm down. You don't even know if you like him.
Yeah.
Why are you upset about him? What are we doing? By the way, have a roster. Please, everybody, have a little roster, 3 people. Just don't talk to only one person. Get your hopes up, like low expectations. Okay, so I'm going to say the takeaways here to not bring your exes into it, okay? Like, just let them not be in the equation. If you've been burned, keep it in your head, but like, do not make an innocent person pay for mistakes of somebody that they've never met.
You make a future dude pay for the past of a past dude, you get no dude.
100%. It's living in paranoia. Like, you have to heal before you date, right? Or at least a while. Like, if it takes you and you know internally, like, I am still thinking about this person and what they've done to me and blah, 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 you should not be dating. And if you really want to be out of your house, you should be in your hoe phase. Okay? Go ham. Be safe.
That's true. But and a lot of women are not able to deal with that.
I know.
They can't deal with it. So when they start doing that, they start getting this pussy, oh, I'm ready for casual. And all of a sudden they meet Enrique, and then Enrique's giving them the good. And then they can't take it no more. They're like, oh, man, I didn't think I was going to catch feelings. And then I got to hear him on my stream.
No, but this is what I'm saying. If you can't handle being in a hoe phase and you're going to catch feelings and you're going to be, oh, maybe he's my husband or maybe she's my wife, you need to be single, okay, for like a few months. I know it sucks to not have somebody to do shit with and to have to deal with your feelings. It is the worst. But I promise you, it will help you in the long run. Like, just be alone for 2 seconds. Go have girls' nights, go have guys' nights, go on Bumble BFF, make some new friends if you're lonely. I promise you. Also, my other takeaway, if you're constantly triggered by people that you're dating and that they remind you of your exes, it's time to ask who is actually the problem. Because maybe you are dating a pattern and you need to break your own pattern. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we even dating people that remind us of our ex? I know sometimes we have like a physical thing, we're into this like look, whatever, but like truly, if we're dating our ex over and over again, why are we doing that? Clearly didn't work out with that person. Break the pattern.
It's a common denominator here.
Yeah. You know what? Therapy. For a lot of people. It's on BetterHelp. You know, you can sponsor us if you want BetterHelp. Mm-hmm. But like, seriously, it's literally so easy to have access at this point.
True.
I don't understand it. We all just need to heal.
Those are good takeaways. I like those.
You have anything you want to add?
I don't think so. I think, the main takeaway is that nobody gives a fuck about your past. And I think we need to kind of course correct and figure out what we need to do to become better so we attract better people into our lives. Yep. Number one. And that's it. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for Benny, thanks for coming back.
Of course.
You know, we love to have Benny.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to see so much Benny this year, guys.
It's great.
Okay, so thanks for coming back to another episode of MissJudged Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your fam. 5-star reviews only at Benny Inc. Thank you, Benny.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Bye, guys.